Spending years getting a degree in graphic design and struggling to find work is tough enough, but finding out your own father is secretly using cheap AI art for his business instead of hiring you is a massive slap in the face. Let's get right into this frustrating betrayal from user Super Robot Penguin, titled, "I am a graphic designer and illustrator with a bachelor's degree who has been struggling badly to find work. I found out last night that my dad has been using AI-generated graphics for his small business. My mom showed me an Instagram post from this small business advertising a t-shirt with an AI-generated image on it. Even though I noticed immediately it was AI-generated, I went and asked him if it was anyway. He tried lying about it at first, but then eventually admitted it. I was confused about why he wouldn't ask me to design it instead, and he said he thought I was busy. Well, he still could have asked. I have been struggling to find any work, whether it's a commission or a full-time job, and he definitely knows this. I have even offered to do work for his business before, and he said he was open to it. While he said sorry, he kept doubling down on it anyway, saying that I am beyond doing designs for t-shirts. Are you kidding me? What is it that you think graphic designers do? Artists make all kinds of stuff, and t-shirts are not off the table. I have been wanting to do more stuff for t-shirts anyway. Also, with that logic, he is beyond using AI slop for his products. It looked like absolute garbage. I think the real reason he hasn't asked me to do illustrative and design work for his business is because he's been addicted to ChatGPT recently, and this was something he wanted to try doing. Honestly, I saw this coming from him from a mile away, but it is still incredibly disappointing. Edit. To those saying they don't like my attitude in this post, if you have had to put up with this overall bad person with extremely difficult views like I have, you would have a bad attitude about it too. I have tried to give him the benefit of the doubt because he's my father, but maybe that has not been the best idea. I apologize if this post comes off as too bitter. I am just trying to get all of this off my chest. Is her father being completely disrespectful of her career struggles just to play around with AI, or is she taking his business decisions too personally? Sound off in the comments. Let's keep going. Lying to your parents as a kid is pretty normal, but keeping up a completely pointless lie about missing one of your 5 senses for 15 years just because you wanted to seem quirky is a whole new level of dedication. Let's get right into this hilarious confession from user phantom_heartbeat titled, "I've been living the stupidest possible lie for 15 years. I can smell. Okay, I can smell just fine. God, I told a little white lie when I was like 11 to seem quirky and different, and I insisted it was true for so long that everyone I've known for at least 5 years believes this. My whole family, my oldest friends. I told them I can't smell. I insisted that I couldn't smell. Why? Good question. No clue. Every time someone would offer me something to sniff like a candle or a scented spray or some kind of food, my little baby teen self would be like, I can't smell, and everyone would go, oh, right, duh, I forgot. Sorry. People would go, do you smell that? And I'd hold a poker face and go, no. Even my parents, they'd say, if you can't smell, how can you taste? And I went, I don't know, my body's just weird. And I insisted upon this for so long that I convinced them. Because why would I insist for so long if it wasn't true? I don't know. It's not. I can't react if something stinks. I can't give cues if I smell something out of place. I can't buy candles in front of people. I've had to turn down aromatherapy stuff. It's so stupid and such a small thing, but I've learned it permeates way more situations than people think. And I know if I told anyone who believes this, they'd be baffled and ask me why the hell I would lie about that. Because I wanted to be quirky in 2012. That's it. With people I've met in the past 5 years, I'm undoing it. People I've met in college, at work, online, they know I can smell. And it's so relieving just being able to take a freaking whiff of curry or something and go, that smells so good. Like, this is more dire than telling people I'm trans. I'm so for real. I told my conservative parents I'm trans, but I will take the fact that I can smell to my grave. Okay? Thanks. End post. Have you ever told a pointless lie as a kid that got way too out of hand? Drop your most embarrassing one below. Next up. Imagine going through fertility treatments to start a family with your husband, only for him to leave you while you're pregnant, beg the court for less custody, and then secretly moved 2,500 miles away to avoid his own child. Let's get right into this infuriating update from user throwaway, account 4311, titled, "Update for my soon-to-be ex-husband asked the court to give him less custody and visitation with our son." For those sending me messages of concern, I'm not that heartbroken, and I'm already in therapy. My ex-husband left me for another woman. I was pregnant at the time. My divorce lawyer told me that in our state there is a law which gives parents a 50-50 split in terms of parenting time with their children. If there is something like drug use, neglect, or abuse, the other parent can bring this up to not have the 50-50 split, but without these things, parents start with that if they are not together. However, my ex-husband ended up asking for less time with my son. It was in my other post here how heartbroken I was. My son was a month old back then. He's turning 4 next week. My ex-husband has only met my son 4 times. The woman my ex-husband left me for went back to her husband, so my ex ignoring my son had nothing to do with her. I'm grateful that my son doesn't remember his father because it would rip me apart if he was old enough to understand that his father doesn't want him. I know the day is coming when my son realizes his father is a deadbeat, and I'm dreading it because of how much it will hurt my son. I was going to post a vent because I found out my ex-husband moved to another state. He moved 2,500 miles away and didn't tell me. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised given he doesn't care about my son, but I'm still furious. I'm angry, I'm heartbroken, and I hate him. He destroyed me when he left, and I tried to put it aside for the sake of my son, but my ex abandoned him too. I'm still seeing a therapist over it. I can handle being heartbroken, but I don't want that for my son. I'm already sick thinking of the day my son realizes his father doesn't want him. My ex moved 2,500 miles away, and I hate him. I hate him so much. Also, to all those who commented on my last post saying I baby-trapped my ex-husband against his will, or that I'm a gold digger. My son was conceived with IUI. I didn't trick my ex-husband into anything. He wanted kids, was fully on board with the IUI, and he was also researching adoption in case we were not successful. There was no baby trapping here. I work and wasn't leeching off him. If we had split 50-50 custody, neither of us would have paid the other child support. My ex-husband has never paid any of his court-ordered child support, and I had a job for our entire marriage. Is there any excuse good enough for a father to just vanish on his own child like that? Let me know your reaction below. Moving forward. Waiting in line at the grocery store behind someone who blatantly ignores the 12 items or less sign is universally infuriating, but seeing them actually face the consequences is pure karma. Let's get right into this highly satisfying story from user deranged unicorn 27 titled, "Grocery store cashier enforced the express checkout item limit and it was so refreshing." I ran into Food Lion on my lunch break to grab some quick grub. It was pretty busy, but there were 3 full-service registers open and 1 express 12 items or less register. The full-service registers were pretty backed up with several people with full carts, and the express register had a couple people with a handful of items. I only had 4 things, so I start heading to the express checkout. As I'm making my way over, I see a lady pushing a nearly overflowing cart towards the registers. She was ahead of me, and I saw her pause, look at the full-service register lines and how busy they were. Then I saw her look at the express lane. She saw only a couple people in it with a few groceries. I watched her look up and read the Express 12 items or less sign before she looks back over at full service. I could practically see when she made the judgment call, and she headed over to the express lane. By this time, she and I are almost getting there at the same time, so she speeds up and maneuvers her cart in a way that cuts me off, and she basically butts in front of me with her overflowing cart. The cashier was helping a customer check out, so the lady already started unloading several of her groceries before the cashier noticed her cart. She told the lady it was an express lane with 12 or fewer items, but the lady ignored her and said the other lanes are too busy, so she came over because there's hardly anyone here. Meanwhile, I'm standing behind her holding my 4 items. The cashier wasn't having it. She sees me behind the lady and flags me to come up so she can quickly check me out. I squeeze past the lady, who is now huffing and puffing, and she muttered something like, "I didn't know it was the express lane and it's not that serious." That's a lie. I saw her read the sign and go for it anyway. Meanwhile, another person with only 1 item lines up behind the lady with the full cart. The cashier waves him up to check out in front of her too, and the lady got more huffy and started muttering that she's being treated unfairly. After him, there was a lull, and the cashier did her best to check out the lady as fast as possible before anyone else came up. But it was nice to see the express lane being enforced like that. Most cases, the cashiers don't say anything when someone with a full cart comes through an express lane, but I appreciate the no-nonsense cashier not putting up with it and prioritizing people who are trying to quickly grab a couple items and go. Is there anything more satisfying than watching an entitled shopper get exactly what they deserve in public? Tell me your best petty justice story below. Moving on. Being bullied about your weight as a teenager is terrible, but having your entire family gang up to force you onto a treadmill until you literally cry while running is a special kind of abuse. Let's get right into this heartbreaking confession from user raspberry_then LOL titled, "I cried on the bus every day after school because my family made me exercise until I cried. My F24 family used to force me to exercise and lose weight at around age 13 to 15. Fast forward 10 years, it will forever be the biggest trauma in my life. It only stopped because I spent an exchange year abroad at 15, but the mental abuse never stopped. I still lived with my parents until last year. For reference, I have always been tall for a girl 5 feet 9 inches, and was somewhere in the average to slightly heavier range at the time. I guess I was chubby but not heavily overweight or had any kind of medical problems. Every other day I would sit in the school bus on the way home, crying inside because I knew I'd be forced to exercise again. I had to spend at least 30 to 45 minutes on the treadmill, while my 2 much older siblings stood by me to make sure I didn't adjust the speed or take breaks. I often cried while running because they put the treadmill to a much higher level than what I was able to do. I was barely able to breathe. My siblings would even increase the treadmill speed, pushing me to lose more weight. My parents encouraged them. I was told that no one wants a fat sister or daughter, even by my grandmother. For my birthday, my grandmother gave me a jump rope that counted jumps in time because she or my mom had read that jumping burns more calories than running. Many times I left the dinner table crying because of comments about my food or body. I was told not to be so sensitive, that it wasn't a big deal, but to me it was a huge deal and has left me deeply traumatized. Everything that happened by my family has led me to feel I will never ever feel pretty or comfortable in my body. I will never feel thin enough or truly accepted by my family. I will always fear comments from my family if I eat something unhealthy, or if we go out for ice cream, for example. I've lost all interest and motivation for any kind of exercise because I only associate it with negative memories. Whether I was tired, it was late, or I was sick, it didn't matter. I had to run on the treadmill. Today I can never feel pretty even though I'm at a normal weight, maybe a little chubby. I haven't worked out in years because my family made me hate any sort of exercise. It is so unhealthy not to move, but I cannot overcome it. My relationship with food has never fully recovered from those years, and I know I still struggle with it in ways my family never even sees. I swear I will never treat my future kids the way they treated me. How do I overcome this? I have never told my family this, and they probably don't even realize how bad it affected me, and my mom would be very sad about it. Should I talk to them? Should she finally confront her family about the years of psychological torture? Or is it better to work through this trauma with a therapist instead? Let me know your thoughts. Here's the next one. Imagine sitting at a family birthday dinner, just trying to enjoy your food, when your entire family decides to gang up on you and declare your single status at 22 a national emergency. Let's get right into this incredibly frustrating family dynamic from user ornery background 411 titled, "Apparently being 22 and single is a family emergency. It was my grandma's birthday, and my sisters, my uncle, and I were all sitting at the same table, just talking and joking around. Somehow, the conversation got to marriage. My older sister started teasing me, saying that the pretty ones get picked first at the market, basically saying that my sisters got married earlier because they're prettier, while I'm here without even a boyfriend. I didn't know whether to laugh or what. Then my uncle added, 'How is she supposed to get a boyfriend when she's already arguing with someone after 1 week of talking? She tells me all this tea about the guys she talks to, then they disappear.' And I was like, is it my fault if we're just not compatible? You date someone to get to know them, right? Why would I force it if it clearly isn't working?" Then he added, "Well, she wants someone handsome, rich, with a good career, a good body, in short, perfect." And I said, "Is it really bad to have preferences and standards?" Apparently it is, because they started joking that I'm going to end up alone because I'm too picky. My family really said, good luck finding someone, while I'm literally just sitting there eating birthday food. Guys, I'm 22. I really don't understand why everyone acts like I'm running out of time. I'm not even planning to settle down this young. Honestly, I don't see myself getting married in my 20s. For me, choosing someone to build a life with is a huge thing, and I don't want to rush it just because everyone around me thinks I should already have someone. If I talk to a guy for a few weeks and realize we aren't compatible, why would I force myself to keep going? Isn't that literally the point of dating? You date to get to know someone, see if you click, learn about each other, and if it doesn't work, you move on. I also don't think it's wrong to have preferences. Yes, I want someone I'm attracted to. I want someone financially responsible, educated, hardworking, emotionally mature, and someone whose values and goals actually match mine. Does that mean I expect a perfect human being? No. I just know I don't want to settle for someone I already know isn't right for me. I would rather be single than be in a relationship just for the sake of saying I have someone. Maybe I'll meet someone next year, maybe I'll meet someone at 27, 28, 30, or whenever. I honestly don't know, and that's fine. I'm only 22. I still have so much life ahead of me, and right now I actually enjoy being able to focus on myself, my studies, my life, and figuring out what I want. If the right person comes along, great. If he doesn't, I'm still okay. I just don't want to rush into something important because my family thinks being single is a problem that needs to be fixed. I'd rather wait for someone I genuinely want to build a life with than choose someone just because I was scared of being alone. I'm not asking what I should do, I just needed to get this off my chest because apparently being 22 and single is a bigger concern to my family than it is to me. Is her family just playfully teasing, or is it completely toxic to pressure a 22-year-old into settling down before she is ready? You be the judge. Onward. Imagine being trapped in a terrifying medical emergency where the only way to keep a sick, delusional person safe is to look them in the eyes and lie to them for 6 hours straight. Let's get right into this deeply emotional confession from user_evening_shop titled, "Spent 6 hours lying to keep a sick girl's head straight. Years later, I'm still crushed by guilt." I did what I had to. We couldn't get her an ambulance, she kept forgetting everything over and over, and I kept lying to her about everything for 6 hours to fit her delusion, or like narrative of events. Why we're outside? Well, lecture's been canceled. Why we're dressed differently? Oh, it rained and we had to change clothes. Why is she in college? She passed her exam. Congratulations, with a fake smile on my face as I hugged her. The girl was sick. I had to keep a close hold on her because she almost ran straight into a lecture hall. I had to keep my arm around her all day to catch her if she falls. She's fine now. This was years and years ago. I'm just haunted. I feel disgusted. I know I did the only thing I could do. I know the lies and stories were how my aunts would handle my grandma's dementia, and it was literally my only frame of reference for how to handle something like this. I don't know. I know I kept her from panicking and getting worse. I know that, but I feel gross about it. I had to reintroduce myself like so freaking much. I don't even know why I never brought that stuff up in trauma therapy. I can't afford it anymore, and I regret not remembering to bring it up earlier. Would you have done the exact same thing to keep someone safe, even if it meant lying to them for hours? Let's discuss below. Up next. Watching your best friend of 15 years get slowly isolated by a toxic and controlling wife is painful, but eventually you have to draw a line when her manipulative games start ruining your own life. Let's get right into this breaking point from user_doctor_1502 titled, "I'm about sick of the disrespect from my best friend's wife." Me and my best friend have been friends for 15 years since we met at 12. For the past 6 years, I've been dealing with constant disrespect from his wife, and I'm absolutely sick of it. If I went into everything, this post would be a light novel, but the biggest issue is every single time we make plans, she tries to derail them. Every single time. Because of this, we have met an average of 3 times per year since the wedding. At first, I gave them the benefit of the doubt, but it cannot be a coincidence. We have to make plans months in advance, and suddenly her cousin's got a dog birthday, so we've got to reschedule, and then that day she's got a mild cold, and then she absolutely needs to go get a vase on that exact day. On the rare occasion we actually meet, she blows up his phone the entire time with ridiculous stuff. She can't make a corn dog and she's starving, a thunderstorm is coming and she's scared. He promised he'd be back in 2 hours, and if he doesn't leave right now, he won't be if traffic is bad. The hypocrisy is she doesn't have any of these restrictions with her friends. Last year, she went on a girls' trip during my birthday, but told him he couldn't be out for more than 3 hours. Because of this, almost all of his friends and family have stopped talking to him. The trigger today was the meetup planned for October. We haven't met since June, and he couldn't work in anything sooner because of course not. But my birthday is in October, so it's about the only thing he can actually meet for. But she says that day doesn't work because her mom's best friend's birthday is that weekend, and she agreed to help set up. He tried to argue for 30 minutes, but no deal, and I'm about to snap. I told him in way too many words to back off, and that I'm incredibly tired of the disrespect, and his apologies just piss me off more. I know he's stuck in a toxic relationship, but so am I, and if he wants to be disrespected, good for him, but I'm getting pretty sick of it. Is he completely justified in walking away to protect his own peace, or should he be trying harder to help his best friend escape an obviously controlling marriage? Give me your honest verdict below. Let's continue. When your boyfriend's friend's girlfriend starts demonstrating suggestive stretches on his bed and texting him for rides when her own boyfriend has a car, it is time to start asking some serious questions. Let's get right into this uncomfortable boundary-crossing drama from user adfisses1 titled, "My boyfriend's friend's girlfriend is slowly crossing boundaries with him. I, 24F, have been with my boyfriend, 24M, for about 6 years. He has a longtime friend, who I'll call Max, and Max has a girlfriend, Red, 25F. They've been together for around 4 years. The four of us have hung out together a lot over the years, and for the most part, everything was completely normal, but eventually a few things started happening that felt a little strange to me. The first thing I remember was pretty random. We were all hanging out when Red suddenly brought up an oddly personal, hypothetical question about her own body that made everyone uncomfortable and elaborated on it in more detail than the moment called for. I remember thinking that was kind of an odd thing to volunteer, but I mostly brushed it off. What made it stick in my mind was that my boyfriend commented on it afterward and said something like, "Wow, I didn't know Red was that open about stuff like that." Then there was the yoga incident, which I wasn't actually there for. Red had recently started taking hot yoga classes, and apparently she ended up in my boyfriend's bed demonstrating a suggestive stretching pose in front of him, wearing something far too revealing for the situation. My boyfriend told me about it afterward, but what really stood out to me was that he kept bringing it up on different occasions. That was when I started paying more attention. Another time, Red asked my boyfriend if he could help her replace her shower head. After he finished helping with the shower, she joked that he was going to become her handyman. They started laughing and talking about what kinds of things she could ask him to help with in the future, and she joked that she was going to make him come over and fix whatever she needed. I was clearly in a bad mood afterward, and my boyfriend noticed. After that, he started going over to their place by himself sometimes. At some point, my boyfriend needed Red's help with something, and in return, he offered to give her rides if she ever needed one. At first, she said she would probably only take him up on that if she needed to travel a long distance, so I didn't really think anything of it. But after he started going over there without me, she asked him for a ride to work. The thing is, Max already has a car. The way they communicated also started changing. Before all of this, my boyfriend mostly communicated with Max. If they were making plans or talking about random things, Max was usually the one messaging him. Then Red started messaging my boyfriend directly about things Max would previously have texted him about. She also added him to her close friends on Instagram. I can't shake the feeling that she's being malicious, and I'm not sure whether I'm noticing something real or whether I became hyper aware of every interaction just because I know my boyfriend is attracted to her. For the moment, I'm unable to digest the situation. Edit. Okay guys, so maybe this is relevant information, but I'm diagnosed with autism. I know his behavior is shitty, but I was wondering if she's really flirting with him / disrespecting me. Edit 2. Some people are saying she's being normal and my boyfriend is the only problem. Some are saying she's flirting with him to my face, so I guess I'm confused now. Is she just overthinking standard friend behavior, or are this girlfriend and her boyfriend completely disrespecting her right in front of her face? What's your take? Let's move on. Having a friend who constantly fakes illnesses for attention is exhausting. But watching a fully grown adult pretend to switch into different personalities on command just because she is bored is a whole new level of secondhand embarrassment. Let's get right into this wildly cringeworthy confession from user bongpirate7295, titled, "My Friend Has Factitious Disorder and I Can't Handle the Cringe." I have a friend who most of the time is great to hang out with, very funny and interesting, but she also very clearly has factitious disorder, and I don't know how to deal with it without enabling her by pretending to go along with it, or making it clear I don't believe her, which can cause people with factitious disorder to freak out and deliberately make themselves ill to prove that they were ill all along. How do I know she has factitious disorder? Well, her array of physical illnesses and mental disorders have a tendency to come and go. At one point she had Tourette's, but she kept forgetting to have the tics and quietly dropped it after a couple of weeks. She once showed me a days of the week pill box full of her medications, and I could see that most, if not all of them, were just vitamin supplements. She claims to have DID, but it's the exaggerated internet version of DID where she's a system with alters who can pop out on command. One of the alters is a little Korean girl who only speaks Korean, but is limited to the Korean phrases my friend has mastered on Duolingo. Her acting is frankly not great. At times when she claims she's been triggered and is having a panic attack, or claims that one of her alters is out, it's kind of like watching an overzealous theater kid in a bad high school play. Her actual trigger is being bored and/or people not paying enough attention to her. If we're in a group setting and everyone's focused on someone else, I can see her out of the corner of my eye getting increasingly agitated until she has a fainting fit, or one of her alters announces their arrival, or she jumps in with a mention of her trauma and then stares off dramatically into the distance. Whenever a new person joins the group and she gets to tell them her list of disorders and illnesses and traumas, it's almost like watching an addict get a hit. The frustrating thing is that she's perfectly cool and interesting without all of this, and most of the time she forgets she's supposed to have all of these conditions and is a chill person to hang out with. But then, out of nowhere, she'll get bored and decide it's time to bring out Darius, her gay male alter, and then I have to sit around trying to keep a straight face while she does a bad impression of a gay man and expects me to play along and will ramp things up if I try to just ignore Darius. She's not a teenager, by the way. She's a fully grown, tax-paying adult woman in her late 20s, and so am I. I am too old to be playing random games of let's pretend, and part of me wants to just yell at her to cut it out. But I also understand that she really does have a mental disorder, and that trying to confront her about it would only make it worse. Also, it's not my job to try and treat her condition, and I'm definitely not qualified to do so. I guess my only options are to continue putting up with it and try to reward it with as little attention as possible, or slowly fade out of the friendship. Both options suck, though. Should she slowly fade out of this exhausting friendship? Or is there a way to shut down the theatrical performances without causing a massive meltdown? Let me know below. Almost there. It takes years to build a peaceful, stress-free life, but it only takes 2 months for absolutely everything to fall apart, leaving you jobless, publicly humiliated, and heartbroken. Let's get right into this devastating vent from user pawn 899, titled, "My Life Sucks Now, and It Happened Super Suddenly." My life sucks now, and it happened all of a sudden. First off, today I lost my job of 6 years in an unbelievably incompetent way on my part. I looked like a groveling idiot trying to explain myself, but at least I didn't make any excuses. I said it wouldn't happen next time and basically was hit with a "there won't be a next time." My boss is well connected in the industry, and I'm sure word of mouth will go around about me. Secondly, earlier last month, an embarrassing video of me went viral. The circumstances were purely unlucky on my part, and now I have hundreds of comments ridiculing and judging me. Yes, it's still being shared around, and I don't even use social media. Thirdly, my beloved dog of 15 years was diagnosed with cancer about 2 weeks ago. I still have a cat, but we're both going to miss the dog dearly when she's gone. The only thing keeping me sane is I'm somewhat financially stable as I moved back into my parents' place a couple of years ago and have some money saved up. And 2 months ago, I was living a lovely, stress-free life. I was fairly respected in my field, and things were going pretty well for me. All of a sudden, things went bad, and I've developed anxiety due to it. I know life has its ups and downs, and I'm trying to hold on to hope that a year from now, things will look completely different, but I've never had something like this happen in all my years of living. Have you ever had a period in your life where absolutely everything went wrong at once, and how did you finally bounce back? That's it for today. Drop your stories below, and I'll see you in the next one. Making the heartbreaking choice to walk away from your perfect match just because your life goals don't align is incredibly painful. but running into that exact same person almost a decade later while your current marriage is falling apart, that is devastating. Let's get right into this emotional confession from user BothInspector 5693 titled, "I saw my ex of 9 years for the first time today and forgot to breathe. We broke up 9 years ago, mutual breakup. I wanted kids, he didn't. It absolutely broke my heart because other than that, he was a perfect match for me. We were together for 5 perfect years. I got married, I have a beautiful son, and most of the time I feel comfortable with my life. I absolutely am a different person compared to 9 years ago. When I married my husband, we were really happy for a while, but in the past 2 years, he got into a really bad depression, started drinking, and he refuses to get any help, so I guess this situation also contributed to me reminiscing about better times. Anyway, tonight I saw my ex for the very first time since the breakup, and I had a physical response. My chest tightened and I lost my breath for a little. And now I am sad and I feel very guilty for feeling this way. I just wanted to let this out, and it is something that I absolutely cannot share with anyone in my life at the moment. Has an unexpected run-in with an ex ever caught you completely off guard like this? Drop it below. One more to go.